All right, this is going to be one of our how-to requests. So we have our members ask us anything, and we'll make a little video about it. So here's our first one. How to train to reduce anxiety. And we talk about anxiety a lot in the gym and a lot in regards to training and how to battle it, but not only battle it, but use it for competition and use it to develop oneself. So this will be a quick crash course in this, and then we'll make a full depth video for those who need it later. So let's kind of break this down real quick. One of the first things that you want to do in your training to help you reduce anxiety is going to be boosting or increasing your perception of yourself. Right? When we talk about training styles that do that, the biggest one is quit plus one training. That means you're taking whatever the exercise is, you're taking it to failure. You're taking it until you feel your quit response coming in. And then you do one more rep. Maybe it's one more rep, one more foot, like one more step if you're pushing the sled, one more lap, whatever. You find your quit. You find it. You train hard and find it. And then you do just one more. That little bit of extra proves your brain wrong. It proves your perception of yourself wrong, and it starts to rebuild it to make you feel more capable. Outside of quit plus one training, we have max fight training. Now, max fight is something that you do that's very low skill, so like a sled push or a sled drag or something similar, and you take it to the absolute, right? Your max sympathetic response. It's a form of quit plus one, except we're not using it with reps, we're using it neurologically speaking. You're going to go until you are either crying on the ground or you're fighting to your last breath and just push yourself, blow it out of the water, right? Because that's going to also boost your brain's perception of how capable you are, right? Getting into that extreme of your nervous system, that extreme of your fight, will remind the brain, oh, I can do more things. I can handle more push. Moving on from max fight, we want to boost our stress tolerance and other training styles or other forms of exposure. Okay, so an easy one's cold water exposure. If you can teach your body how to regulate temperature better and be comfortable with the extremes of hot and cold, and you do contrast work, your overall stress tolerance will increase. And if I can handle more stress, my perception of self will increase, and I'll also be able to handle smaller things that may cause me to get anxious throughout the day. Breath work is another great way to increase your stress tolerance. So let's break down breath work and CO2 tolerance training real quick. When we talk about breath work, we're essentially making sure that we're using vagal tone stimulating breath. So inhales through the nose, deep into the diaphragm, etc. Box breathing is probably the most common form of breath work I think I see. And the box breathing is just a 5-second inhale, hold your breath for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds, and then hold without air for 5 seconds. And then you do that on repeat, getting yourself comfortable, feeling like you don't have enough air, right? And then puts you into a more relaxed parasympathetic state. That helps build your tolerance as well. But what I think bang for buck breath work training is definitely got to be CO2 tolerance training. If you can handle higher levels of CO2 in the bloodstream, you will handle a lot more stress. Your cardiovascular system, first of all, will skyrocket in its performance if you just focus on CO2 training. Some examples of that would be we do a lot of cadence work with our breathing, either while walking or riding the assault bike, where we have X RPMs of inhale, and then we try to increase our exhale duration to a point where we're doing work on a 30-second exhale. So maybe 2 breaths per minute while exercising. And you flirt with that. You keep in that uncomfortable realm. You stay calm and you boost your tolerance to higher levels of CO2. It's just like training to be a better swimmer, holding your breath longer, blah, 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 blah. You're increasing your ability to tolerate CO2. That's going to increase perception of self. It's going to decrease your sensitivity to lactate and help keep you calm during anxious moments. Besides trying to increase your perception of self, proving that you're more capable, on a physiological level, we also want to increase our ability to use lactate. So The pump you start to feel doing a lot of repetitions or a run or a bike or something like that. That's lactate accumulating because the body doesn't know how long this bout of exercise is going to last. So it's going to continue to give you more energy, more energy, more energy. The lactate builds and builds and builds until you either find your calm or your runner's high or your flow, or you take that feeling to the extreme and you go into fight mode. So we want to increase our ability to use lactate. And here's an easy way to do that. One of the easiest ways to increase our ability to use lactate is high frequency flow training. High frequency means ideally you're listening to some kind of music that's around 428 hertz, and you're trying to stay in a safe flow state, but at a heightened heart rate. So ideally you want to try and get your heart rate at about 120 beats per minute. If you're more on the fit side, maybe it's 110. If you're not as fit, it might be 125, but you don't want to go too high because that's going to push you into panic and fight. We want a high level of flow to where we're producing lactate, but we're also using it at the same rate and not overdoing it. And this is something you would do for long periods of time, 30 to 60 minutes, a couple times a week, trying to get into that burn state and then just stay calm, stay comfortable, and work through it. It'll make sure that you're using your lactate efficiently as it's building up, and it will slow down. So in summary, how we want to train to reduce anxiety, we need to find things that increase our perception of ourself, right? The brain needs to know that the body's capable, and the more capable it feels, the less likely it's going to allow you to slip into complete anxiety or a panic attack or be super stressed out over little things. And we just physiologically, we just want to increase our ability to use lactate and use that energy when it does happen, right? The butterflies from public speaking aren't that bad if I know how to use them, right? And I can clear it out pretty fast. So here's your training styles. Apply it to however you want to, once or twice a week, and you're going to feel the difference pretty fast. One max fight session is going to make you feel pretty good. If you have any questions, reach out. If you're struggling, reach out. We'll help.